and welcome to another episode of Tolkien Watch. In today's episode we are going to take a look at Smeagol, or more commonly known as Gollum. Let's have a look at a few of the scenes that he's in.
There's something down there.
It's Gollum.
Gollum.
He's been following us for 3 days.
He escaped the dungeons of Barad-dûr.
Escaped. Or was set loose. And now the ring has drawn him here. He will never be rid of his need for it. He hates and loves the ring. As he hates and loves himself. Smeagol's life is a sad story. Yes, Smeagol, he was once called. Before the ring found him. Before it drove him mad.
So, for me, Gollum is one of the more interesting characters in Lord of the Rings, and here to answer some of our questions on Gollum is Mark, a member of the Tolkien Society and author of 5 books on Tolkien. Welcome to the Denmark. Nice to meet you.
You're right.
How are you? So when did you first get involved with Lord of the Rings? What was your interest?
I started reading Tolkien round about the early 70s. I'd finished reading the C.S. Lewis books, the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which my mother had taught me how to read on. I went to the librarian and asked if there was any more, and she said, "No, I'm afraid not. You know, that's all there is." I said, "Well, is there anything else like that?" She came back with a copy of The Hobbit, and there's the story.
Right. So you're the guy to ask when it comes to Gollum then?
Could be.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at a scene from the Two Towers where Gollum is first encountering the ring. This is where he has a disagreement, so to speak, with Deagle. So let's take a look at it.
Why?
Because it's my birthday and I want it.
So, in the previous scene, Smeagol looks just like a hobbit. Is that what he was?
He was what the hobbits became. The hobbits migrated towards the Shire, and Smeagol was what would become one of the tribes of hobbits called the Stoors.
Mm-hmm. So, why do you think he changed personality so fast?
The ring had an almost immediate impact on him, in influence. The ring is malevolent and is able to corrupt people, even by the desire of it, as it did with Saruman and Boromir. With Smeagol, who was already quite a naughty little boy as a hobbit, it had instant impact on him.
Right, okay, so I think we can see some of the effects that this ring had on Smeagol. Let's take a look.
It ensnared a new bearer. The ring came to the creature Gollum, who took it deep into the tunnels of the misty mountains. And there, it consumed him. The ring brought to Gollum unnatural long life. For 500 years it poisoned his mind.
So I actually feel quite sorry for Smeagol and how his life changed once he had hold of the ring. Then he starts to actually call himself Gollum. Why is this, Mark?
He doesn't actually start calling himself Gollum. He was never the nicest of hobbits to start with, and he used the ring once he'd found out that it made him invisible to do nasty things with it, and it started to affect him in certain ways. And one of these effects is him kind of swallowing and making this gurgling noise in his throat, which came out. And they nicknamed him that, his people who he lived with.
So there's a scene towards the end of the Two Towers where Gollum and Smeagol are having a battle to see who will become the dominant personality. So let's take a look at the scene.
Go away. Go away! I hate you. I hate you. Leave now and never come back. No! Leave now and never come back. Leave now and never come back.
So as we can see, Smeagol wins the battle and actually starts to help Frodo and Sam, even bringing them dinner. So let's take a look at how he changed.
Look! Look! See what Smeagol finds? They are yummy. They are tender. They are nice. Yes, they are. Eat them! Eat them!
You'll make them sick, you will. Behaving like that. There's only one way to eat a brace of coney.
So Mark, why did Smeagol become so friendly towards the hobbits?
The more time he spent with these two young hobbits, as they were to him, the more it seemed to bring back the recollections of his childhood. He became more tender towards them, especially towards Frodo. And there is actually one scene in the book, which apparently it's not in the film, where he's actually like an old grandfather looking after Frodo. And this is spoiled by Sam waking up and finding him pawing at him, and the moment's gone.
And that all changed when Smeagol thought he'd been betrayed by Frodo and Sam when he was captured at the Forbidden Pool. Did the film get it right, Mark?
It did more or less. I don't know whether Faramir's men would have been so brutal with him, because that wasn't their way. But it was similar to some degree. Smeagol, Gollum, felt deeply betrayed, and in his mind, all he saw was that Frodo was a Baggins, and Baggins were tricksy, and Bilbo had stolen the ring from him, and it put him back on the road to becoming Gollum, more or less, again.
So this is when Gollum resurfaces and becomes the more dominant personality. He sets a trap for Frodo and Sam. Let's take a look at the scene.
First, we must lead them to her. We lead them to the winding stair. Yes,
stairs, and then up the stairs we go until we come to the tunnel. And when they go in, there's no coming out.
We can definitely see the two personalities here, and both coordinating with each other. Is this the point where Smeagol is lost forever? Mark?
Smeagol was lost the moment he saw the ring, and he was always lost. There was always a slight chance of redemption for him, as in all things that are evil in Tolkien's world. There's always a chance of redemption. He always wanted the ring back. So in that effect, yes, he was lost. He remained lost, and he would always be lost.
Do you think there was a chance that Frodo could have ended up the same as Smeagol if he had not had Sam with him? What do you think, Mark?
Frodo's quest was to get the ring to Mount Doom, in real terms. That happened, and it's only because of Sam that happened. Frodo was weak in body and mind. He'd been totally hammered by the ring the nearer he got to Mount Doom and its creation point and its master Sauron. If Sam had not have been there, I don't think Frodo would have even got to Mount Doom. He would have failed and put the ring on, and Sauron would have seen him, he would have been captured, and that would have been the end of it.
So there we have it. Poor old Smeagol never had a chance. I'm Shane Cook, and this has been your instalment of Tolkien Watch.
I could wear an helmet, but I'm not going to.
For me, he's one of the more interesting characters in Lord of the Rings. What am I supposed to say after that? Well, for me, Gollum is one of the more interesting characters in Lord of the Rings, and here to help talk through some of the... Fuck me! Jesus! So, I think in our next scene...
No, you didn't. You know, when he finished speaking, you went, right, well, I think we can see that bit.
Okay. Right, well, what do you mean?
Right.